Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of 1923 Main Street.
Home of the Disney Travel Podcast with the latest Disney travel news. We are your hosts.
I am Mike Bello-Braddock.
And I'm Amelia Bello-Braddock. And today, Jollywood Nights new reviews are in, and it looks like it's taking a turn for the better.
And the EPCOT Festival of the Arts. Some information has been announced, so we're going to talk about that and the festivals in general. But let's kick off with this Jollywood Nights. Now, as we reported last week, the first show of Jollywood Nights ever did have some problems. And, of course, the sensationalist YouTubers cast the death knell on Jollywood Nights. And, you know, I don't put a lot of stake in these self-proclaimed YouTuber experts. Not all of them, but there's a bunch of them. And they're going for sensationalism. They had it done, finished. This show's over. We'll never be back. Blowhards, on and on. And, you know, there's a few of them who know what they're talking about, but there's a few, in fact, most who don't. So they consider themselves experts, but they're not, and that is proven this week. Put your faith in Disney on this one because, hey, they listened, they knew there were issues, and sounds like a lot of them have been addressed. There's a few things they did, but there's one thing I wanted to tell Amelia about here on the show. I purposefully did not tell her. So they've done a bunch of things to fix Jollywood Nights, and a lot of it was just around crowd control and things to do. So they've brought a lot of characters out as one main thing they did to spread out the crowds more. Because when you think of the Very Merry Christmas Party with the food options and things like that, there's more things to do, so people spread out. So they've brought a bunch of characters in for meet and greets, and one of them, Amelia, is Duffy in his in his Christmas outfit.
That's so sweet.
And I have seen comments saying, I'm plunking down $150 just to meet Duffy at Christmas.
Adult party, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sure, Disney.
So what do you think of that?
How long are the waits for characters?
I don't think it's going to be too bad, right? So they have a bunch of other ones. They have the gingerbread man character that you see in the Very Merry Christmas Parade. So they've done, you know, they listened, learned from just the first one ever. So really contrary to what sensationalist people say, hey, the reviews now are how great it is and what a good time it is, which, come on. We knew they would feed, you know, they're not going to, it was one iteration, people. Come on.
I'm really not a character person, but man, Duffy's my weakness. Oh, that's so cute. I love that they did that.
Yeah, so the general reviews are now, had a great time, 15-minute ride lineups max and stuff like that. You know what you would expect.
Hollywood has the big ticket ride, so that's what I want to hear because that's not necessarily true at Very Merry.
Yeah, I still don't have a good view on, and I tried to reach out to people. I still don't know if they fixed the Tip Top Club at the Tower of Terror party, but I did read...
It sounds better.
Well, I did read someone say, I ran over, grabbed a quick drink there towards the end. So maybe that'll be our strategy, to wait towards the end to do some of those things that, you know, when it just opens, everyone maybe is going to go to these things, the two parties, the party within a party.
Well, yeah, maybe you want to wait till the end to load up on drinks.
Yeah, exactly, before we head back. And we have a late flight out the next day, so it's all good there. It's all good. So, you know, the death knells, the proclaiming of Jollywood Nights as being done by sensationalist YouTubers, well, they'll just continue on with their sensationalism. So take a grain of salt with where you get your information because it's sounding good now. And again, we're not there till I think it's the second last one, so it's only going to get better. So that is great news if you have a ticket or if you were thinking of getting a ticket, and all the people who made their, I'm selling my tickets. Well, bully for you. Great. Go ahead, sell your tickets. You know, there's too much sensationalism on social media, is there not? Or is it just me? Do you feel like there's just too much?
I try to avoid social media at all costs, so I am not the person to comment on this.
Maybe that, except for Instagram, I think you like occasionally, or Pinterest for photos.
Try not to. Pinterest doesn't count.
Yeah, people are not sensationalist on Pinterest, at least that I've seen.
Pinterest does not count.
It's mainly YouTube, where, you know, the self-proclaimed experts anybody can have a YouTube channel, right? So anyway, there we are. You know where my likes and dislikes lie. I am not shy to express my feeling, which is why you listen to our show. So now let's jump into the EPCOT International Festival of the Arts, kicking off in January. And before we go into that, part of the fun of our show is an older person like me, older than you person, an adult, And, you started the show, you were much younger, but you're still pretty young. You're like a kid. You're a young teen.
Yes, well, I haven't started sprouting grays yet. So.
Here's my question for you, and our listeners might want to know this with their kids. Epcot tends to be the only park that has these festivals, right? You got Festival of the Arts now, you got Flower and Garden, you got Food and Wine, and so on. So are these festivals a draw for kids? What do you think of them?
Are these festivals a draw for anybody?
Yeah, they are. Food and Wine. Like, we like going to Food and Wine. I like to try the food at the booth. But if you're planning a vacation and you have kids or young teens, is this something that you should consider as being important? World Showcase festivals.
I like the food at these festivals as much as the next person, but there's just always a festival going on. So it just feels like at this point, it's just a part of World Showcase.
You know what? It's interesting you say that, because my follow-up question to you, which is related, is if you have never been there before, or let's say you've been twice, would you notice any difference other than the banners on the posts that there's a festival going on?
No, unless you were looking for specific items from a past festival, there's no way you would know.
Because the festivals are very different than the ticketed parties. It's just it's usually now come down to some extra food and drink booths and a couple of seminars, right? That's essentially what they are.
The festivals at this point are literally just menu changes and specialty merch.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
And they all have music now, which we're going to get into. They are all following the same formula, food, drink, some music theme.
And so by doing that, they, again, don't distinguish themselves from each other, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just flows into the background of what Epcot is and not necessarily a specialty limited time festival or whatnot. So personally, I would say it's more so just that's Epcot and it's worth a stop. But if World Showcase didn't appeal to you on its own, World Showcase with the festival is not going to do anything to change your mind.
Okay. That's sort of what I was trying to get to for our listeners is if you're planning a vacation and if you're wondering, should I book specific dates for my kids because of this festival?
No, truly, I would go there to eat. But also, I think Epcot, it's getting better with the rides. So now you can spend a full day in Epcot. But before, it was really more geared towards adults, I would say. Because I know Walt Disney had his whole learning community, but there weren't really that many learning experiences.
Well, and you know what? Initially, a lot of the things I liked, like the Twister, that was very interactive. That was fun. Some of all thrills, build your own.
Mixed them
but they were all gone. Yeah. So before they've redone it now, it sort of lost its edge. So anyway, that's really the answer if you're wondering. I wouldn't plan it is World Showcase. I wouldn't plan my vacation around any of these festivals for kids. If you happen to go when it's there, it's great.
Listen,
and they're fun.
I've been vocal about this. Epcot is my least favorite park. Nothing against Epcot. It just doesn't have the same draw unless you really want to go to, the Guardians Coaster or something like that. In which case, go. The festivals are good. The food's good. It's just not the best park, in my opinion. But I think when you start being able to drink, that might change for some people.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was differentiating it if you have young kids. All right. So,
kids, definitely not. Teens,
or
maybe.
Under 21s. All right. Let's talk about the Festival of the Arts in January. January 12th to February 19th. One of the shorter festivals and the newest festival. There's some cool things they're doing here. First of all, there's the performing arts, Disney on Broadway theme.
Yeah, so they're going to have some Broadway stars coming to Disney World, and the series is actually making a comeback. And so they have their whole list line up from their special shows like Frozen, Freaky Friday, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Mary Poppins, and a few more. And this will be in Showcase Plaza, which is also home to live performances daily with musicians, painters, and acrobats.
Yeah, they're going to have 3 shows daily. So if you like any of the Disney on Broadway musicals, the actual performers from those musicals are here. We're not going to go through every date for everyone. There's too much. Check the show notes. Check the blog post at 1923mainstreet.com for a full calendar for when you're going. But that's pretty good, right? I mean, there's the musical component, like Eat to the Beat or Garden Rocks or any of the other ones they have.
This performance ranges from January 12th all the way through February 19th. So just about over a month.
And then, of course, as they always do, you can get a dining package. Those go on sale if you're interested on...
Are these the same 8 restaurants?
On December 19th. Yes, they look to be quite familiar.
Wow, they look good in this order.
Well, here's what... So, If you want to get advance seating opportunity, that's how this works. On December 19th, you will have to book a special, more expensive dining package at one of
lucky you.
at one of 8 restaurants at Epcot, and then line up to be able to be one of the first ones in. It doesn't mean you can go right when it starts, because there is a line. There's Akershus, Beer Garden, Coral Reef, Garden Grill, Rose and Crown, Le Cellier, Spice Road Table, and on the day of the show at Quick Service Regal Eagle, you can walk up, but those go quickly. So that's a same-day package. I would recommend, if you're going to do this, you either do Garden Grill, Le Cellier, or Spice Road Table. Those would be my 3.
I would recommend you do anything but Coral Reef.
Yeah, we're not fans of Coral Reef. So, is it worth it? Yeah. If you really, really want to see someone.
If you were going to eat at those restaurants anyways, maybe.
But last time we did it, it was a special menu, right? There was not, you can't just pick anything off the menu.
That's also a good point.
So
keep
anyway,
that in mind.
you will be able to see that. But if you're interested, just remember the date of December 19th, because some of these do sell out. So if you really want to get a dining package, then do that. Now, if you're a foodie, there's other things happening at the festival as well.
Yes, they're doing a little bit of experimenting, I would say. Things ranging from a rainbow cake with freeze-dried Skittles at Figment's Inspiration Station at the Odyssey, to a red wine braised beef short rib with parsnip puree, broccolini, baby tomatoes, and balsamic glaze at Pastor Hall Palette. All of these different things are available on the wonderful Walk of Colorful Cuisine highlights, sweet and savory offerings in all colors of the rainbow.
Yeah, so there are 15 foodie stations in total. We know what those are like. If you've been to other festivals, they're just little, essentially booths scattered around World Showcase.
Yes,
where most of these festivals take place.
They, of course, have a passport to go along with this, which will tell you exactly where to find everything. And if you collect 5 stamps, you can bring the passport to Deco Delight's food studio to get a free surprise.
And again, same formula as every festival. There's an interactive element.
No.
What?
This is shocking.
Yes, it's true. This one's sort of fun, though. They used to do this at Hollywood Studios. The first one is an animation academy where you learn to draw a Disney character. They're doing that daily at 12:30 and 1:30 p.m. in the America Gardens Theater. And you can also, what they did last year as well, there's a huge mural. So if you want to go paint your own cool thing on the mural at the Expression Station, you can do that. And if you want a break and you have young kids, I do like the next one. I think it's pretty fun.
There's a kids shock area, which takes place on the bridge over to World Showcase. And this is daily from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this allows your little kids to create chalk masterpieces, and you can take a break. And there's also a bunch of photo ops around there.
Yeah, so they get to draw whatever they want, sidewalk chalk, essentially.
I like these. These are very fun.
You can chill while you're kids. And what kid doesn't like to do sidewalk chalk?
A lot of those options are pretty fun.
And then finally, there are the visual arts and a festival merchandise, of course.
Yes, what would a festival be without Figment? So he is back as the ambassador. He'll take center stage with festival merch, and they've got everything. As per usual, household items, decor, and I'm sure there's some Disney merch for yourself as well.
Yeah, and if you're really into art, then there are visiting galleries that are there, and you can meet the artists and then buy their work. So it's right on hand for you. Check out artfulepcot.com, and you'll be able to see who's there, when, and so on. And then there's a scavenger hunt hosted by who else? Figment. So Figment's brush with the Master Scavenger Hunt is back. This is where you walk around World Showcase and you help Figment learn about art. So your kids may like that. You may like that.
I love these. These are very fun.
Yeah, and again, as usual, you buy a map and stickers at the Creation Shop, Port of Entry, or World Traveler. And then you can search for Figment hiding inside art inspired by famous works at each World Showcase pavilion. So you walk around, and just a hint, look for the Figment-themed picture frames.
I recommend letting your children take charge of this because kids get very particular about these scavenger hunts.
Yep. Oh, yes.
Speaking from experience.
I will vouch for that. And every time you find Figment, as we know, you add the corresponding sticker to your map. And when you've finished the journey, return the map to Disney Traders or World Traveler, and you get a special little keepsake from the festival. So there you have it. Festival of the Arts coming up in January. Jollywood Nights back on track, and I can only assume we'll even get better by the time we get there. Glad to hear Disney turned it around, and the predictions of its demise were greatly overrated. All right, everyone.
goodness.
Thanks as always for listening. Follow along on social media at 1923 Main Street. We'll see you again next week with the latest Disney travel news. Have a magical day.
Bye-bye.